Ooh, good morning, Sonder family. It is cold outside there, baby. Oh man, I'm looking at these negative temperatures for some of y'all. Welcome to this strange Monday. We've got, I know Nicole's here because school is canceled. I worked with Maya this weekend, and yesterday Nicole was saying, I don't even know how to plan my week. I don't know if I'm going to be in the house, out the house. I don't know. So this is one of those weird days. We have no school in the entire Dallas Metroplex. Our roads are nothing but ice. And so we're supposed to have a little warm up tomorrow, but the roads are going to re-ice because it's going to drop really cold again. So I don't know. The kids aren't in school today or tomorrow for sure. I had a meeting that I had to move to virtual tomorrow night. So we're all just being flexible. You guys who are in the negatives and the negative feels like I was saying last week, I was so worried. So worried about y'all. I can't even fathom the minus temperatures. So anyway, welcome. I'm coming to you from Dallas, Texas area, a little town called Garland. My name is Jennifer Ogilvy. I get to be your on screen facilitator, and y'all aren't going to believe this, but my co-pilot this morning, my co-facilitator, Jennifer Krippner, is actually also in Texas. She's in San Antonio. She flew in last night. She's popping on to give you all a wave. So I can't believe we're in the same state and I can't see her in real life. We're going to make that happen. Hopefully she'll be traveling back to Texas, and the two Texas we'll be together for them. But anyway, so Jennifer's in San Antonio, I'm in Dallas, and y'all are hopefully, sitting with your mugs of coffee and hot tea. And I apologize for I didn't want to mess with my hair because I've been keeping this beanie on to stay warm. And I thought I'm not even going to try to fix my hair. I'm just going to put the beanie back on. So anyway, I'm so glad to be with y'all this morning as we set up the very last week of Jade. Like these are our last days, right? We're getting ready to jump into February. I know many of you all are glad to say goodbye to January. So no matter what camp you're in, if January was great and lovely for you, or it's just, I always say a trash fire and you're ready, we're going to be welcoming February together. So make sure you set your chat to everyone. That is how we interact with each other. And I want to know if there's anybody here for the very first time, and maybe you're hopping on with your February journal. If that's you, and you're going to set up that last week of January that's going to encompass February 1st, let us know so we can give you a big welcome. You're going to notice how this community really rallies around each other and hanging out together. Also, think about what you are loving. And this is really my moment of gratitude. I've been really leaning into all the things I'm grateful for when things get really cold. And it's stuff like my heater and that our pipes haven't frozen yet, knock on wood. So yeah, just I'm loving those things that have kept my creature comforts. And the things that I just assume, the electricity works. And, Texans kind of have a little bit of trigger stuff from our storm back in 2021 when our grid failed us. And it was so awful. So maybe they have done some changes to that. So I'm grateful that I can switch on a light switch. So tell us, what are you loving right now? Would love to know that. Drop that in the chat. And we're going to get going with our community guidelines. I think everybody here this morning is just, the regulars, the Sonder family. So, oh, Michelle, she's loving time with y'all, with her Sonder family. I love that. When we are together, you remember we always share these community guidelines, and it's really about taking good care of ourselves and each other as we are together. So, oh, I love that. Karen's hanging her daughters there during the storm. I love that. Oh, Amber, good luck on that job. Oh, oh goodness. Okay. So you got offered a job last week, but you've got some more things happening. So we're going to send you good juju for that. Lots of y'all are getting, oh yeah, cuddles and blankets and all the things, all the things. So we are saying goodbye to alignment this week. And I've read this graphic every week that, we're going to continue this energy, this idea of only doing what feels genuinely right in your intuition and letting go of everything else, which is easier said than done. Oh, Maggie, I've been doing a lot of crafting and sewing, and some of that was just to take my mind off of the world because I found my flow. And I told Jennifer, I've just been sewing and sewing and sewing. So, anyhow, so let's think about of our last week of alignment and how we're going to say goodbye to it as we get ready to welcome in a month of belief. We will finish up our mind map. If you happen to be here for the first time and you're kind of hanging in the background, this is a bonus prompt you get when you come to the weekly setup. So you won't find this prompt in your journal. It's an extra. We'll do our rosebud thorn reflection and then we'll do those weekly setup pages the best we can. A lot of us don't know what the week's bringing us, but in that life, right? Like our well-intentioned plans often go awry anyway. So yeah, we have been looking at ways to really glow up, so that what is shown on the outside of ourselves aligns with our inside truth. And that's been where we've landed with alignment. So here are the 4 weeks worth of questions of journal prompts. We did the core connection, the habit harmony, and energy audit. And then today we are looking at our future self calibration. And Maya actually wrote this month's mind map and she laughed. She said, I don't know why I put imagine it is the end of January because it is the end of January. But she's encouraging us to think about one specific way that you might feel like life is a little more in sync now that you've journeyed with this theme of alignment, because you've chosen to prioritize alignment over external expectations this month as we've worked on those core connections and our habits and looking at the places that we draw our energy from or the places that zap our energy. I have just kind of a little prompt. I was honored to work with Maya for both of those setups this weekend. I was behind the scenes in the chat. And what we found when we were working on this prompt was folks really talked about and embraced the idea of what their life looks like with all those external expectations, because that really does drive us and it may cause things to happen that are not really in alignment with who we are. And it's a look at our boundaries, at our ability to say no, which is really hard for people pleasers. We realize that saying, putting in those boundaries and saying no that's a tricky and hard thing to do. But then maybe once we've done it and we can look back, we can realize, wow, that was a good moment of alignment for myself. But it's those external expectations of, like I'll give an example for me is just I kind of feel like my brothers just sort of feel like Jennifer's going to take care of mom, right? Jennifer will make sure XYZ happens for mom. And it's just there's that. It's like, guys, you are competent adults as well. But there's just this idea of, it's just the way it is. And so I'm really working on those boundaries and trying to empower them and also keep my mouth shut if things don't go the way that I might have done it. So that's one example, like that I can think of in my life. There's plenty, but it's just those external expectations of who we're supposed to be. So, anyhow, let's take just a few moments to look at this prompt and to answer that. And I did have this graphic over here on the right about it's how to change your life in a year. But maybe there is one thing on this list that will resonate with you that helps you prioritize that alignment. So I thought we could also have that go to. So if I, maybe start journaling a little bit more about how I'm going to handle the brothers, that kind of thing. Anyhow, let us know what comes up for you as you are considering this week's final prompt on alignment. Anytime the chat says, I realized dot dot dot, um, just pat yourself on the back because that shows that internal personal growth. And a lot of you shared things like, you've got more energy because of the way you've prioritized your life. Meredith was talking about, like, she's got more energy to play with her daughter because she's really trying to prioritize the things that give her energy, that fill her cup over the things that we're drawing from that. Radhika shared that by the end of the month, there was a situation where she realized I'm the only person in this room that is like handling things when there was spiraling going on. So be so proud of the things that you are noticing in yourself as you continue to grow. I love that. Then we had some conversation about books and libraries, and I saw a wonderful post in the socials that said, use your library. Even if you just go and check out stuff and you don't touch it, use your library. Send that message, because if your communities were to lose those beautiful resources, then we'd be lost. So make sure that you're using it. Check out a stack of books, and after you check them out, put them back in, but show that activity that they're important. Anyhow, all righty. So now we're going to turn to page 50, which is our rosebud thorn reflection. I always say this is a moment of gratitude. Sometimes the roses and buds and thorns of our life from this past week, it could be the very same one thing. Sometimes that happens. The thorns are going to be the things that didn't go well, things that were challenging or stressful, or a place where you could use some more support. And think about maybe how you can turn that into a bud. My thorn was, I was sharing with Jennifer, I did a lot of sewing over the last few days because I was trying to find my flow. I got very upset about just the state of our nation, and it's just see more hate than love, and ugh. So I just dived into my sewing machine to kind of find my flow and calm myself down. So that was my thorn. My bud is, I have a vacation coming up next week, y'all, and so I will do the Monday morning setup, and then we're gonna load up the car, and we're gonna be flying out of Austin. But we're taking a trip with my husband's sister, and we're just excited. I'm going to get to put my toes in the beach sand. It's been a trip that we've been working on for about 10 years, and we're fine. I finally told my husband, I'm going, whether you come or not, because I love his sister. So anyway, so that's coming. I'll be on vacation after next Monday. And then my rose, what went well, and that was for me this week. My daughter had been on her honeymoon. It was a year in the making. They finally got their schedules to align. I babysat their puppy, and when they got home the next day, we had big family dinner. My two kids, their spouses, the three grandkids, all sat around my table. And anytime my table's crowded, I'm a happy, happy person. So that's my reflection. So think about what went well and celebrate that, and share in the chat, and then we'll get going with the rest of our setup. so many of you are talking about you're ready for February, ready to set up, get going. Jennifer Wood is already set up. She's like, I'm ready for success. A little spoiler alert because of the way the schedules aligned. I will be doing three of the four monthly setups. So I will be online Friday night and Saturday morning and Sunday evening for that monthly setup for February. So, just so that you know, you're welcome to come to all three, but you might only want to do one if you get enough of this. But I'll be getting to do those three setups this weekend. So I'm real excited to look into February with y'all. So now let's take a look at our weekly setup, our goodbye to January week, if you will. We're going to be on pages 52 and 53 this week. And here's our show and tell from y'all. So I just always love looking at folks' pages and getting some neat tips. I noticed the one on the right, the example on the right, you can see that they are needing to do some eye drops, and it looks like it's like a four times a day. Oh, well, Michelle, thank you for sharing your setup for the week. I love the way that you did those eye drops so that you've put that little plus in those circles to help you remember if you did indeed do eye drop number two for the day or whatever. So that was a really good idea. And then you've also paired your bedtime care, your teeth, and your face. You took those two habits and paired them together, and you've drawn a line in the each one of the tracker circles so that you are like checking in with both of those before you complete those. So those are really good tips for incorporating habits and activities. And I realized, like, I forgot to take my vitamins two times in the last 4 days in the morning. So I think I need to go back and resync that morning schedule. I just get real, I didn't even remember, like, I was like last night, like, what day is it? So I'm glad I got it straight so that I could be with y'all. But, these weird days kind of throw us off center. So anyhow. So there's just a couple of great examples, but I love that both of these examples show us that they were embracing this idea of kind of feeling centered, feeling peaceful. And so that was their how I want to feel. And the one on the left kind of did a little bit of a mantra, like I want to feel centered. I am peaceful. I feel tranquil and quiet in body and mind. So that is how that was going. So I'm looking at the chat. Oh my goodness, Dawn. Oh goodness, Dawn. We're glad that you are here with us. So I'm so sorry. Um, just sit with us, and thank you for being so open and sharing. Um, Goodness sakes. So we're gonna send you lots of love, Dawn. This week, how do you need to feel? How think about your week, what life is bringing you. We're gonna start with that. I've got a little word cloud here. I thought a couple of really neat examples was, like I love the heartbeat line that you see there, and then it says stabilized. That's a pretty good space, pretty good word for that space, or something fun like on the ball. So, Dawn, you're going to find lots of support here. Take good care of yourself. So let's think about how we want to feel this week. Drop that in the chat. Grace is saying she needs to feel some acceptance this week for sure. And we're going to take those um, feelings, the way we want to feel, and we're going to put that into our weekly goals and our weekly to-do. So let's take a look at some of those examples. This one on the left, I pulled up, it's one of my old ones, and I think I'm going to be working on my frog and my fruitful and my fun. Um, the frogs are the things that we don't want to do that we've been putting off, and I've been transferring closet to, for 4 weeks now. So I'm really going to work on that. But you can see how folks have used their word to inform their goals for the week. We've got the mind, body, work, and then the health, family, and vacationing. So there's some three categories that you can start with a category and then it helps you plug in. Also, there's ways to repurpose this space. You do not have to set goals for your week. It's okay to maybe look at what you're valuing right now, how that fits in with our theme of alignment. So this example at the top says, my major three values, learning, fun, and feeling authentic. And so perhaps that drives do that. Patricia, I've got the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday monthly setups this week. Um, and then we've got our repurposing of doing your daily routine. And sometimes folks will just do the morning routine here or just do the evening routine. This person's chosen to do morning and evening routine. But there's also a lot of ways to set this up for other purposes. Maybe you're going to try some new recipes, or you put a bingo board there, or you shore up those routines, or you connect these directly to those intentions that you set up. So, thank you, Amanda. That's very kind. So, if you use this goals space for something else, for values or something, drop that in the chat. Let folks know how you're using that, and then we take those goals, and lots of times they will help us create our to-dos for the week. This little person over here, y'all, I've used this graphic before, but it always makes me smile. I bought a cake. Oh, wow. What's the occasion? I made progress in my to-do list and I felt like celebrating. Oh, that's great. And then the to-do list, the first thing on that to-do list is buy a cake. So I feel like that's been my list. Like I've got, the closet is down in that list that it hasn't gotten marked off. But I've done a lot of other things that did bring me joy. So maybe you just need to buy a cake. Um, but remind yourself that no one but you knows the effort it took to make it through the day and be proud of yourself. Undones are not a place of judgment. It's there again, those blank spaces, those undones. Just talk about it's a picture of what your week was. And I just wasn't in the headspace to do that. My heart was in other spaces and I didn't feel like conquering that closet. However, this is the week for it because I will be packing, and so it's a perfect time to kind of like pull stuff out. So I'm going to be using this Pomodoro technique with my closet. I'm always very successful when I really jump into the Pomodoro method. And that is just setting those timers, that timer for a work session and then a break and then another work session and then a break. So I always like to shout that out. We've also got the Eisenhower matrix, which is a wonderful way to take all your goals and to-dos and sort them out so that you are prioritizing the things that need to happen. Jennifer's sharing a link to the Pomodoro if you want to go read a little bit more about that. The Pomodoro is tomato in Italian. And so it started because of those tomato timers. The guy who came up with this method actually was using his tomato kitchen timer, and that's why it's called the Pomodoro technique. Then there's also the fun graphic that a lot of educators use with their children in their classes. But it can also work for you, and that is mustard, ketchup, mayo, and pickle. And it's the mustard are your must do's. The ketchup are the things you need to catch up on, what was like left undone. This is a really good time to go back through our journal and see if there are some undone things that we really want to catch up on this week. because we're looking at the end of January. The mail are some things you may do, and then, they're not pressing, um, but you're going to put them on there as kind of that visual. And then the pickle is just you pick one or two things. I always do something fun for myself. So it might just be, paint my nails or sit down with a book and a cup of hot tea. So I'll pick a couple of happy things for my goals and to-dos. Um, We've got some ways of framing your to-do list out. Sonder Family's great. It can be just a list if you are doing that. Someone else actually renamed this from weekly to-dos to weekly priorities. So putting those top things there, that's that bottom left. And then we've got some different spaces of how they've set their to-do list up, as well as the one in the center, the middle center up above the top one that says don't do this and do this instead. So kind of, doing that. Yeah. And for sure, just like that mustard ketchup, that might be a gentle way of approaching this list. So let's work on this part. And I'm going to go back through those slides. If you saw something you might want to grab a screenshot of, and then we'll look at our habits and activities. All righty. So I know you might still be kind of working on what your goals and your to-dos are for the week, but let's go ahead and jump into the habit activity while you're finishing that up, because a lot of Our habits and activities for the week specific can come from those to-dos and the goals that you've set. This habit tracker can, be changed up so easily from week to week to week, whereas that big habit wheel at the front of your journal are kind of those things you planned to do every day this month. But this little space is so good to tie into what the specific week is bringing you. I loved this. There's benefits of building habits that actually serve you. So when you are doing those intentional, aligned habits, you can experience greater sense of joy and fulfillment. You reduce your stress and symptoms of anxiety, which will improve your physical and mental health. These habits and activities that serve you give you a greater likelihood of getting those long-term goals achieved. It will motivate you to have just an overall healthier lifestyle, better quality of sleep, and it increases your productivity and focus and gives you more energy. So that's why jumping into the idea of tracking those habits is so important. As we look back over this month, this is your reminder that, when you step back and look at what the month brought you, you were successful. Don't let a couple of bad days, hiccups, define how you're feeling about what the month brought you. Take a step back and think about overall what was in your life. So, yeah, me too, Alice. I have to throw it in every once in a while. And when we see things like this, it's because I needed I needed the reminder. So I'm sharing the reminder I needed with my Sonder family because we tend to be so hard on ourselves and write those external expectations that we were talking about. So we've got some new examples of setting the space up. Y'all, the one over here on the bottom left, this habit tracker is all about a slow morning. And I just loved the intention with that. So maybe, oh, thank you, Maggie. I love that. Just that slow mornings, that very intentional easing into the day. Maybe that's something you need salve for your soul. And then Nicole's been, thank you. Thank you for sharing, y'all. Nicole's is there on the bottom right, and you can see, I love that you had a little work dance break, like, put dancing in your kitchen up there. Notice the one on the upper left, there are some powerful personal affirmations. And I love the idea of like filling these lines with some affirmations, the things you need to hear this week. So, things like I set boundaries, I give my body the rest it deserves. Doesn't that just fit with alignment? And then just the idea of you can set goals for this space, but the reminder you don't have to. So you can see a lot of these, there are no goals set. It's just a straight tracker. So, that reminder of that. Here are three examples of folks trying to spell out a word a day. And I just wanted to bring that back because sometimes trying to write a word that will make you feel so excited about yourself could work really great. You could put the word grace, you could put the word proud, and create your habits and your activities based on those. So yep, I'm telling you, we grab all these screenshots when they're shared, and so I thought it'd be fun to put those words together. And then here's a big old long list of some habit and activity inspiration if you're not sure what to put there. So let's put on a little bit of music while we finish up goals and to-dos and work on our habits and activities, and tell us, what are you tracking this week? What's going on your list? And any other tips you might have. Oh, I love that, Nicole. Yeah, we we could do the word cozy down our tracker and the Z would just be for rest. Zzz, I love that. Alrighty, so we're going to hop over to the second part of our setup. And I always like to remind y'all this, all the things I'm going to show you can be put in any of these spaces. This is that page that tends to get repurposed a lot. So we'll be looking at how folks are using the meal plan, the mind body health plan, and the shopping plan. And again, any of the things I'm going to share with you can be repurposed and popped into one of these spaces. And then I have some of those big graphics with inspiration to share with you that you might end up using as you do set up some of these spaces. So let's take a look at just, some examples. Here's a couple of examples from y'all of how this page is set up. We've got, we always love the how do I feel and what do I need reflections. So that's great to look at, maybe focusing on some daily glimmers. That's very important if things are feeling a little tough right now, really make sure you're intentional to find the happiness, or you see hello sunshine over there. So perhaps that's also a little bit of a glimmer activity. And yes, Heather, good call out for the social this week for dream life and alignment filter. So that'll be on Thursday this week. Here's some meal plan ideas. You guys have seen these before, but also I wanted to point out the shopping list for this person was actually repurposed for the dinner plan. So planning that main meal of the day, they're going to put that in their shopping list. And then they'll be using their meal plan space for something else. Lots of ideas for repurposing this space, those big juicy boxes that we love so much. But I loved this one. When life starts to feel crummy, stop, and that is shower. Let that hot water soothe you. Think positively. You need to believe in your abilities. O is for open up to either mom or another person. They believe in you and love you. And then P was prioritize meditations because it helps you get out of your head. So just that they've used this as kind of their go-to reminder for the week. That would fit beautiful with that HALT theory where we ask ourselves, am I feeling hungry, alone? Tired and then what do I need to do for that? We've got the glad reflection where we look at what we're grateful for, what we've learned, what we've accomplished, and what delighted us. And then mindful moments. Here's some more. The clothing plan of daily reflection. This week I da 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 da. Um, and let's see, this week, yeah, learned, read, created, loved, completed, enjoyed, all those things. So just little moments of reflection. And then we'll go over to that mind body health plan and look at how folks have set this up. Lots of different ways. I love, maybe we need a song list. So you see that one down there on the bottom left. Maybe a good sticker goes there to remind you. See the good in all things. Self-care bingo. Lots of folks. I always put a bingo in my shopping list here. Um, but that was a good example of that. Here's some more ways of how folks have set up this space. I always say this is a good space to be kind of selfish. This is the things that you're going to do for yourself. We'll go back through all of these while you are setting this page up. We've got a shopping list section that can also, it can be used as a shopping list. There's an example of the reminders that someone is going to use for their shopping this week, but lots of repurposing here. Again, we love this one because of the grids. So it's really good to make it into another tracker, like the one you see in the middle section there. This could be a doodle space. This could be some reminders about what's in and what's out, what you're letting go of, and what you're going to invite in. Love the quotes, the voice of wisdom, or maybe it's just a little parking lot for washy scraps and stickers. So, like the one in the upper right. Um, Joyful things, bookish nonsense, writing down those books that you want to read. Good, another couple of examples of some quotes. Maybe your self-care goes here, mind, body, soul. You create a menu or this bingo box. And then I've got a lot of graphics just to inspire any of these spaces. So there's our Silk and Sonder month of alignment. You can see today says identify one habit you want to build gently. And so perhaps that becomes a focus for a space here. The 1 week self-care plan. And then a lot of these graphics you've seen before, but you might want to incorporate them within your setup and ask yourself questions about like what do I need. I love the daily habits that will change your life, even though 1 hour of exercise, maybe just it could be 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be an hour, but just those things of incorporating. It's kind of fun to do that 1 through 10. There's some early, easy 10-minute tasks. So if you want to maybe set a timer and create a bingo board of 10-minute tasks, you can do things to be excited for. It is National Soup Month, and apparently today is National Spouse Day. So I don't know what that's all about, but maybe looking into that. Glimmer Bingo. What a wonderful way to honor yourself by finding those just small moments, things like fresh bedding or that you started a new book. And then the little things worth smiling about. And yeah, so let's put on some music and work on this whole page. I'll go back through all of these slides so that You are able to take another look. If you saw something you like, screenshot it, or let us know what you're going to be doing in this on this page, how you're setting up these spaces where you repurpose and what's worked for you, or maybe some things that you've tried in a space and it didn't work for you. Share that because that will also give us some good information. right. I mean, who am I this morning? We are finishing on time, and I gave you lots of time to see those graphics. We didn't run crazy, crazy short on time, and I didn't have to cram it all in. So I'm glad my pacing was a little bit better. Y'all stay warm. Thank you for joining Team Jennifer this morning, Team Jennifer in Texas this morning. Share your weekly planner. We love to see your setup in Sonder Club. And thanks for taking care of yourself, of making sure you are living in alignment with your authentic self. We're growing every day. We're still learning no matter how old we are. We send lots of love to those of you who are struggling extra this week. Just know your Sonder family is here. Reach out, let us know what you need. Jennifer's going to drop a lot of links in the chat for you to grab so that you can go back and rewatch this, as well as over 1,000 other socials. And then I'll just plan to see y'all at a monthly setup, right? Make it a good week, Sonder family. Thanks for joining us.